everyone, it's Elaine. Thanks for joining me today on my channel. I'm starting off with my Tailored Expressions Twinkle Twinkle background, which is one of my current favourites at the moment, and I'm using some Bristol smooth cardstock and used my Embossing Buddy to treat that to stop any static or reduce the static. And then I'm taking my Versamark ink and then taking my paper down to my stamp and just sort of lightly pressing that down. And here you might be able to see some of the impressions that's made before I add the embossing powder. I'm also using Ranger's Liquid Platinum embossing powder and sprinkling that all over and then tipping some of it into the pot and tapping it off. And then I'm left with this really pretty background. Now I had to heat set this away from my desk because I can't get my heat gun to my desk at the moment. I'm hoping to change that soon, but I did heat set that off camera. And now I'm going to ink blend my background. So I'm taking some picked raspberry distress ink and applying that lightly, and then I'm taking Wilted violet, and these two are my favourites at the moment, and sort of lightly building the colour as I go. Try not to be too heavy-handed. And now I'm taking some shaded lilac and then some spun sugar, and they're the 4 colours I used for this card. I'm not being too particular with where I'm putting the colour. I'm just trying to get an even blend, mix them together so that they transition into one another nicely. And I'm covering the whole of that piece of that cardstock. I'm sort of going back and forth just to try and get them to blend together and look seamless. And I'm quite happy with that. And now I've taken my stamps. These are the My Favourite Things Rainbows and Unicorn stamps, which I haven't used for a little while, but I do really like them. And I'm just sort of playing around with the stamps to see where I might want to put the images once I'm done. So I'm using some Copic friendly cardstock here and laying out my stamps into my Misti, and I'm then using Mememto Tuxedo black ink. This is kind of my go-to ink, and I press that down a couple of times just to get a good impression. And now I am going to Copic colour my images. I use my chart. I have got a hex chart as well, but I'm using that chart to try and pick out some colours that will work well with that background. I don't have loads of Copics. I have quite a few, but I think these pinks worked quite well, and all the colours I'm using will be listed down on my blog. I did super speed this up. There is quite a bit of colouring, so I'll put on the screen the time that you can go to see the rest of the card if you don't want to watch the colouring. I tried to just keep the colours really simple. I didn't use too many colours. I wanted to just try and stick to the pinks and the purples, and I did use a little bit of blue in the clouds. to die cut my images using the coordinating dies, with just securing that down with some washi tape so they don't move as I put them through my die cutting machine. And do my little cloud as well. And then I've also die cut my panel with one of the dies from the My Favourite Things Blueprint 27 die sets, and I'm also going to cut out my sentiment with one of those banners in that set as well. So now I'm just sort of positioning my stamps and my sentiment where I think it might want to go, and I'm going to use my Misti to heat emboss a sentiment, again using my Embossing Buddy and my liquid platinum embossing powder. I think I actually do heat set this on camera. I think I had a little rearrange in my craft room today, so I've tried to make sure I could get my heat gun so that I could film it. And here I am just trying to sort out where I'm going to put my sentiment, and I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. And then I'm going to use that scalloped die just to give it a finished edge. And then I can start gluing everything down. So I've glued down the sentiment. I'm using my Nuvo Glue, which I really like. And now I'm gluing down the rainbow. And I'm going to pop up my unicorn with some Scotch foam tape, just to give it a little bit of dimension. I'm going to stick that down. And then I can move on to my castle and the clouds. I didn't want to fill the card with too many images because I wanted that background to show through as much as possible. I didn't want to cover too much of it up because I think it's so pretty that I wanted it to show as much of it as possible. And now I'm adding some Nuvo glitter pen to pretty much everything other than the background. And then I think I'm trying to show you the glitter, but I think I'm actually moving it a bit too fast, but it's really nice when it catches the light. And now I'm making my card base. And I do put a bit of glitter pen around the edges of my card base just to give it a little bit of shimmer. And then I use my score tape to apply some adhesive on the back panel of the card so that I can secure it to my card base. So thank you for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed my video. Please comment, like and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope you have a wonderful crafty weekend. Thanks everyone. Bye.